September 28th, with basically an inventory of assets.
I have it as document 24.
Right, the same document I'm looking at right now, Mr. Havens.
I'm looking specifically at line 16, 32. That's it.
$32 is prepaid rent at the 829 East Walton. 16 is jointly owned with spouse, couch, 3 bookcases, and I suspect because of
Length that was short.
Right, but the value of the petition was $2,500, and it's deemed as abandoned under 11 U.S.C. Section 554C. By looking at that line item for 16, as well as 32 contains the same notation as being abandoned under 554C. So that's your basis for, the trustees already abandoned these two issues of property.
That is correct. I can shorten my argument, Your Honor, if I can obtain a concession from the debtor that Shelly Sweet is the owner of the property to the best of her knowledge.
When you say the owner of the property, you're talking about the real property at 829 Walton.
Correct, sir.
Very good. Well, let's find out if we can shorten the hearing or whether we need to go forward, Mr. Havens, unless you want to make some further comments at this time.
Not at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Havens. Ms. Honig, it's an interesting...
I would like to, if they would concede that, may I continue?
Sure.
Will you concede that issue?
I don't think anyone's disputing that she owns the property.
Okay, then under 362, Your Honor, the burden of proof shifts to them.
Well, let's, anything more, Mr. Havens?
No, because I believe I've established the only burden of proof I have to establish.
Very well. Ms. Honig.
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess first of all, I'm not sure why the case took so long to be administratively closed, but I can tell you when I went to that state court hearing, I informed the court of the bankruptcy. I actually informed them of it prior to that date, and Ms. Sweet's attorney acknowledged that a bankruptcy was filed, yet they proceeded to enter an order that day. In any event, I have a problem with this notice of intent to sell because the notice says that property in that house would be considered abandoned, and as far as I could tell in the rules, even if it's just a notice of intent to sell, there's supposed to be 14 days to object to it. So I don't think notice was sufficient, and I don't know why the creditor didn't try and get the stay lifted weeks prior to that because they were aware of the bankruptcy, but my clients just primarily want their stuff back, and at this point they are locked out of that house. They don't have any way to pick anything else up, and stuff was removed from that house on the day before that possession in the notice was said to take place. There was property taken out prior to that time. So my primary argument is my clients just want their personal property back. Yes, they claimed it exempt, so the trustee doesn't have an interest in it, but it's still their personal property.
Well, let me ask this one. Mr. Havens, where is the remaining personal property? It doesn't sound like there's much of a dispute about the land and the building, but it's the personal property that was in the building. Were all those things stored somewhere or thrown out on the curb or somewhere in between?
Okay, with all due respect, Your Honor, that's not the reason why we're here. Okay, we are here regarding stay over the real estate and being able to sell the house. The issue regarding the property, we have issues also. And I think it's appropriate to bring those up in a more proper way. What I understand happened was, now, I have not had detailed conversations with my client. What I understand happened was the lockbox was put on the house on, the realtor's lockbox was put on the house on July 1st, and on September 7th or early in September, there were some arrangements made to have an appraiser go on the property because of this pending purchase order. And the realtor went there, said there was nothing, in his report, said there was nothing but junk left. During the interim time after that, until that Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, she hadn't even gone in the property, and it was her assumption that everything else that was left was junk. And my understanding is she called neighbors, she called anybody that wanted anything, but there was even after that stuff left because the police were there, and I talked to them on the phone. So I honestly don't know what happened with the stuff. I think some of it went when Shelly went in there, and a lot of it went way before Shelly went in there, and some of it went after Shelly went in there.
What's in there now? Anything?
In the house?
Right.
The house is empty.
Completely empty?
Completely empty, Your Honor.
The police asked me, Your Honor, to give them back the key, and that was the day before that hearing was scheduled in the district court. And I suggested to the police officer that this was a civil matter that should be handled in court, but he disagreed.
I'm sorry, Ms. Honig, we kind of cut you off in the middle of your statement, so go right ahead.
Well, I know my client, I don't remember what I was saying before, but I know my client had, I think last week, was it last time you went over there?
And I went over there on a Monday and I think it was a Monday, and I was going to get another load of stuff. The house was locked. At that point, that's when I called the cops and said that we can't get in the house. The cops met us all there. The police did grant me the key. I asked the police officer if he would go in and make sure there was no damage to the house because